Hello, and welcome back to the Talking Equality Speaker Series. My name is Marcus Stevenson, and I'm your host who's going to take you on this journey month in and month out. Today, we're back with another episode. This is our fourth episode already, and Happy New Year to those of you around the world. Today, we're going to hear from an equality initiative, the ESMB business group in Northern Europe. So today, we're taking a trip across the pond. I'll start by turning it over to our guests so that they can introduce themselves. We'd love to hear a little bit about who you are, where you're located, your day job, and of course, your link to equality here at Salesforce.
All right, so let me kick that off. My name is Hannah, and I am a solution engineer here at Salesforce. I'm living and working in Dublin. That's also where our headquarters for Europe are located. In terms of my day-to-day job, I am a solution engineer, so that means that we drive and spark customer conversations around specifically their CRM projects, but basically everything that's touching their digital transformation in that scope. And then we try to match that with the platform capabilities that we offer. And that makes it a very dynamic and satisfying job to be in, one of the best, in my opinion, within Salesforce. In terms of the link to equality, that's more of my personal interest. So no matter what test I take or framework I use, fairness always turns out to be one of my core values. And that also makes that within the context of my work, I'm really passionate about facilitating a professional environment wherein everyone can succeed, no matter what background you have or beliefs you have. So I think that's also exactly what we're doing here with the ESMB Women Talent Initiative that we tell you all about later. Yoko?
Thanks, Anne. I'm Yoko. I'm a passionate forward thinker. I have the privilege of working at Salesforce in Dublin for the past 4.5 years as a solution engineer. My role allows me to serve as a bridge builder between technology and business, leveraging my expertise to translate these strategic objectives into compelling solutions. And as a trusted advisor, I'm passionate about creating a meaningful impact by guiding companies on their digital transformation journey. And for me, equality matters deeply because it's the cornerstone ensuring that every individual has fair opportunities and rights. And being part of the ESMB Women in Talent program and leading these initiatives is incredibly meaningful. For me, like diverse working groups where each brings in a richness of perspective that spark innovation and creativity. But beyond that, like true equality means being able to completely be yourself without fear of judgment or discrimination. Over to you, Lassie.
Thanks, Joko. My name is Lassi. I'm living in Dublin and working on the Finnish growth business segment as a core account executive at Salesforce, and have privilege of almost for 4 years helping our small and mid-sized customers to help them grow with Salesforce solutions. Echoing Hanne and Yoko there, fairness and integrity are my core values as well. And I'm a huge proponent of equality of opportunity and have become more and more interested in workplace equality over the last few years. I believe that by being an ally member in this initiative, I can bring awareness and encourage other men as well to participate in these important discussions and initiatives so we can all work together in creating a more fair, equal, and inclusive work environment for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those introductions. And although you alluded to it just a little bit, let's start from the beginning for our curious viewers. I know a lot of people out there are thinking, they have the question, well, what is ESMB? I've heard that a couple of times already, and maybe why is there a need for this initiative? So maybe I'll start with you, Yoko.
Yes, sure. So ESMB stands for Emerging Small and Mid-Sized Businesses. And we basically focus on supporting customers in the startup, scale up, and the growing segments. And the ESMB Women Talent Program really inspires and uplifts female talent across ESMB North. And our aim is to create a culture that advocates for our women talent and not only empowers, but also unlocks opportunities within our organization. Now, what is really special about our program is that the focus is on key individual contributors, making sure that not only women with a proven track record and leadership ambitions get access to these equality programs and structures, but also the ones that are at the very start of their career. And like, in order to raise the next wave of female role models, it's essential that we also focus on creating a healthy and equal environment at these entry-level positions.
I love that. And so for those folks who are out there saying, I love the sound of that, I'm thinking about recreating that in some way, I'm curious how you all went about taking on this initiative. A little bit more of the what, the why, and of course, most importantly, like the how. How do we go about something like this?
So absolutely, high level, in terms of the what, the purpose of our initiative is to attract, develop, and then retain the women talent within our specific business unit. So that will be ESMB, and then for North, so all the Nordics and Benelux countries. In terms of the why, we really started this program already a couple of years ago, actually, because we saw that Salesforce as a company has really the right culture and already the values. I mean, equality is one of our core values to accelerate the equality journey within our business, but that it wasn't so natural yet in every part of the company to have that also embedded within your day-to-day and really practice it in your daily operations. So that's why we felt the need to address equality a bit more, let's say, closer to home, to translate that corporate messaging and the global resources that we have into concreter elements that fit more specifically to our segment, our region, our people. And then this year we were encouraged by our leadership to take that idea or initiative into a bit more of an official program. So we gathered a more official team of enthusiasts and defined then 3 pillars on which we could further build the program. So that's a bit more of the how around that and how to take that programmatically. One of the pillars was, of course, data insights. We are a data-driven company, so everything we do, it needs to be backed up by data, right? So we really started with gathering the right and relevant data points to paint the current state of affairs within our region and segment, but then also build on that and really take that as the starting point to also measure our impact against for the whole year. So that's the first one, and then we have awareness and empowerment of our women as the second and the third pillar. But maybe Yoko or Lasse, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, happy to. I can talk a little bit about the awareness piece. So generating awareness, obviously, very not very easy in a hectic environment, but it's very important to make sure that the initiative sticks and your message gets across. So we try to find ways to get people together in fireside chats or regional meetings to connect over the topic of equality, emphasize the importance of diversity, but also to empower the people in our region and inspire them to become allies.
Then I will take the last pillar. Empowering our women within ESMB is focused on putting the data into action by really creating that community that offers concrete development opportunities as well as a network to connect to. Think about networking chats and interactive workshops. For example, we hosted a 2.5-hour workshop on assertive communication to help the women with asking for what they want with effective and empowering communication strategies. And now what we can actually see with these 3 pillars is that separating them into these 3 complementing pillars really allowed us to be effective in terms of action and also getting things done while making sure that all of the elements cover equality.
Absolutely. I love how organized you are and kind of just summing everything up for those of you who are listening. One of the big pieces that I heard initially was that leadership buy-in. So look for that leadership buy-in, lean into data, lean into awareness, and then we're working on empowering our populations. I think that that's super powerful. And, I want to go back to you, Lassie, because earlier, especially in your introduction, you mentioned the importance of allyship. And we talk a lot about allyship at Salesforce, especially when we're talking about some of these initiatives. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how and why you got involved, and also why it's really important for other men to follow suit and show these feats of allyship in this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to shed some light on that. So I mentioned earlier that fairness and equality of opportunity are really important for me, and I think they should be quite self-evident. But my lovely wife helped me understand a few years ago that still in the modern work environments, this is not always the case, and there's not that fairness and equality of opportunity. So I was really surprised by this at the time and realized that I've been completely oblivious to this fact and to the situation before. So I realized it's really important to be and become an ally and help bring awareness to other people like me who just haven't really been thinking about these things. So that's a step that I can and absolutely should take. So I was very excited and honored when I was asked to be a part of this initiative, to be an ally member and help spread awareness, help to help create more inclusive and better work environments for everyone.
That's super powerful, and being open-minded usually is the first step, right? So
yeah,
let me shift over to you, Hannah and Yoko. Lassi just talked about maybe an eye-opening moment or a surprise that he faced kind of on his journey. I'm curious with you two, were there any surprises that you found through this process, and maybe how you managed them?
That's a tough question. We had a lot of findings and it's been a long process, but maybe to start with, I think the reality of the current state of affairs, I just talked a little bit about the data insights pillar, but the reality of the current state of affairs in ESMB North, to be very honest, could be maybe said as one of the surprise findings. Of course, our whole initiative saw light because we knew that we had to accelerate that journey in our segment and region. But then when we gathered the data and actually translated them in clear-cut figures, that was quite eye-opening, I think, both for us, but also for the people around us. So we could say that was a good start as well, actually. Maybe not so good, but also good because it reiterated why we were doing this. And it also helped us to then define the right pillars and get towards the action element, really.
And maybe from my side as well, supporting each other is really essential for fostering equality and helping women's development. So that's also what we found out with our initiatives and everything that we did. So when women uplift one another, they create a powerful network of encouragement. And allies like Lassi, for example, standing alongside women, amplify their voices, advocating for equal opportunities and rights. Together, this collaborative support system cultivates an environment where our achievements are really celebrated and barriers are broken, but I also think where we foster conditions where everyone can basically flourish.
Exactly, and when it comes to understanding what's happening and fostering this and kind of environment, I think furthermore, if you consider our return to high performance culture, there's a huge incentive for everyone, including leadership, to give focus for initiatives like ours, because we know that people who feel safe, who feel inspired, and who feel treated fairly, those people will be more motivated and they will be more productive and therefore perform better.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you, but I know a lot of people are thinking like, this is big. You're taking on a lot, and this can be a huge ask. So you talked a little bit in the beginning about that leadership support, that leadership buy-in being absolutely necessary. I'm curious what it takes to put together an ask this big. Like, how do you collaborate with maybe other stakeholders outside of your immediate team, or how do you approach leadership? How do you think about approaching an ask that big?
Maybe also let's start there where our immediate team is much larger than just the three of us. So our work group consists of more people. Sandra from programs, our account executives, Rika and Paulina, Joe and Brian from our business development leaders. And they're all very passionate about making quality work in our region. And together we ensure a comprehensive approach to the program through continuous evaluation and feedback. Now, additionally, like engaging speakers and coaches, both internal and external, allow for diverse insights into our initiative. And they also help with fostering these workshops, for example, that we initiated. And to ensure that we scale the program efficiently across the business units as well as the countries, we'll be strengthening more closely and collaborate with Women's Network.
Yeah, and there you mentioned an important one as well. I think, if not the most important stakeholder group, and that's the women themselves, right? As our main target group, I think it was very important that we worked with them rather than just for them, and really continue that close feedback loop on the efforts that we've been doing this year to see, does it work? Does it need a small change? How do we go forward? So we definitely can't leave them out. And then, as I think I said that before as well, but we have the right culture and there are tons of resources out there for accelerating equality within our business. And that's embodied by the Office of Equality. So we also found a great stakeholder and advocate in Mira Pitkin, which is the regional officer for the Office of Equality within North. So she became really important for us to stress test our initiatives and also get things off the ground correctly. So definitely recommend everyone to reach out to your local Office of Equality to start working on that with them and leverage the amazing work that they are already doing. And then last but not least, I think you started with it, but the backing of leadership also for us, that was fundamental. So people like Bob van Stralen, who is the CEO for Northern Europe, was a driving force in initiating that early program when we were doing something, but he was like, okay, let's make this programmatic. And then we had Stephen Mason, our own business leader in ESMB North, that was really involved in the work group on a day-to-day basis as well. So he joined some of our bi-weekly meetings, and we had a lot of status update calls with him to see, is this working for his unit? That gave us the right visible and vocal support, as you said before, that is really needed to make sure that the action items that we then came up with, the workshops, the maybe courses that people need to do, that was also prioritized on a day-to-day basis.
I see. And this is interesting because this is what a lot of folks don't see. I love that you brought this to light. Your team of stakeholders, those folks who might not be on camera now, but are still playing a vital role in moving this work forward. So you've talked about that strong team, those stakeholders. You've talked about leadership support. You've talked about those pillars that you've established that you're looking to drive your initiative forward. So now, I guess what's left is what's next, right? So we're looking ahead. We're turning over the fiscal year. What's the plan for this next fiscal year, FY25?
Yeah, never a dull moment. Absolutely. I think for FY25, our main focus will be to scale better. So to scale our initiative across the rest of the EMEA hub and really work together with the in-country women networks as well, as Yoko mentioned, as one of the important stakeholders. Because I think within an organization the size of ours, there's always a risk that you operate in silos, right? So someone is doing great work in one corner of the business and someone else is doing the exact same hard work somewhere else without realizing it. So I think our main effort will be in avoiding that and then making sure that everyone has time for the really important things, so that we take away like the administrative programmatic things, but that we all as enthusiasts for equality have the focus on actual having those conversations with people, because the awareness journey in that sense is never finished, so that we can really talk one-on-one, keep it going, and make sure it's becoming a natural part of every business unit.
Okay, I see. That makes sense. So now, as a viewer, right? I'm a viewer and I'm inspired. I've got a lot of takeaways. I'm taking some notes. I'm curious what advice you'd give to that person, to me. Maybe I want to start a similar initiative, or maybe it's different. Maybe I want to start a different equality initiative within my business group. Do you have a piece of advice for me to get started on my journey? And I'll start with you, Lassie.
Yeah, I think we have a few pieces of advice probably on that. So I would say first that embarking on this journey to create an equality initiative, you need to have a strategic and comprehensive approach to it. It's important to start assessing the current state of equality and diversity, then identify gaps and areas that require improvement, and then gather insights through surveys or getting feedback from your stakeholders. So that's the kind of starting point there. But also when you talk about starting point, defining goals and expectations is really, really important. At Salesforce, we use the V2MOM framework for our business to set the vision and specific measurable milestones. Similar approach works very well with these kind of initiatives.
And Marcus, you already recapped it a couple of times as well, but securing support from leadership is instrumental. Their commitment not only provides the essential resources, but it also signals, of course, the importance of the initiative throughout the organization. And then secondly, for me as well, like transparent communication is fundamental, like keeping everyone informed about the initiative's goals, the progresses, the challenges, and the successes, of course, create a sense of transparency, but also inclusivity.
And above all, it might sound a bit cheesy, but being passionate about the equality initiative is most important.
Yeah, and you do need thick skin to keep standing behind your goals, because it's not always easy and good things do take time.
Yeah, absolutely. But also don't get too fixed up on big bang outcomes. Don't let perfection be the enemy of good, right? Start small, starts with something you can measure, and you'll see then, in time, how many great things you'll be achieving and realizing in a year's time.
Perfect. Perfect. I couldn't ask for much more than that. And I can't believe that we're at time already. I just want to take the time to thank you so much for the work that you do every day, and also for joining us and sharing about the work that you do every day. Hannah, Lassi, Yoko, thank you so much. A special thank you from all of us at Salesforce and beyond. And to all the viewers out there, stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to be diving into Black History Month in February and chat with our Black Organization for Leadership and Development. Thank you all.